Hey there, it's Laria. In this video, I want to discuss all of the Resto Druid related changes that are coming in patch 9.0.5 so that you have all things Resto Druid in one place, especially when it comes to PvE and raiding. The Necrolord ability Adaptive Swarm is going to have an increase in healing, and I don't think that changes things too much for Resto Druids, especially if you've been Night Fae and you've been using Convoke the Spirits. I think Convoke the Spirits is still a really strong raid cooldown, and so this increase to healing for Adaptive Swarm is great, but I also don't think it'll change things too much. If you've been Night Fae and you like Convoke the Spirits, I think you can continue using that. You can continue being Night Fae. I just don't see Adaptive Swarm really competing with Convoke the Spirits in a raid setting, but we'll have to see. There's also a change to the Venthyr Conduit Endless Thirst. When your crit chance used to be 0.5%, it will now be 0.8%, so we see a little bit of increase there. One legendary change that's coming for Resto Druids has to do with Verdant Infusion, and this legendary extends the duration of your hots by 10 seconds, whereas before this change, it used to extend the duration of your hots by 8 seconds. So with 9.0.5, we're seeing a 2-second increase for this legendary. But again, I don't think this is going to change too much for Resto Druids, especially in a raid setting. I think we'll see most Resto Druids will still be using Vision of Unending Growth, which affects your rejuvenations. The last few changes I want to mention have to do with our abilities, and Rejuvenation is getting a 12% increase in healing, and Wild Growth is getting a 7% increase in healing. So one thing that I want to mention is that if you haven't been using the Conduit Unstoppable Growth, which affects your Wild Growth, you might want to start using that now, especially with Wild Growth seeing a 7% increase in healing. I also want to talk about some of these Resto Druid changes, and while I'm happy that Rejuve and Wild Growth are getting buffed, that we'll see some increase in healing from those abilities, that affects our throughput healing, and Resto Druids haven't really struggled with throughput healing. So I was kind of hoping that with 9.0.5 that Resto Druids would receive some kind of ability or receive some kind of change that would make them just maybe a little bit more appealing in a Mythic raid setting. But with that in mind, the question that I receive the most is whether someone should play a Resto Druid or a Disc Priest, or a Resto Druid and a Resto Shaman, things like that. And so while I do say I wish we had received something that makes Resto Druids more appealing in Mythic raid settings, just know that Resto Druids can kill any Mythic boss in Castle Nathria. My Resto Druid is an example for one. You know, my guild is in the middle of Mythic Denathrius progression right now, and I'm in on that fight as a Resto Druid. So while I do say that I wish we had gotten something that maybe makes Resto Druids a little bit more appealing, maybe something that would make a raid leader want to bring them more, just know that if you're trying to decide between which healers to play and you really want to play Resto Druid, don't let any of that stop you, because you can play a Resto Druid and still go in and kill mythic bosses in Castle Nathria. Let me know in the comments what you think about these changes coming in 9.0.5, and let me know if there's anything you wish you could change about Resto Druids.